Hey everybody, let's talk automations. So regardless of what software you're using in your business, it might be Gohighlevel, Kartra, Kajabi. There's a lot of white labeled programs that are using Gohighlevel. They all have one thing in common, and that is workflows or automations. And the reason you want to take advantage of that is it is going to help you streamline your business. And most importantly, it is going to help you keep your sanity. Now, we're all busy. And have you ever like jotted notes down? Oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. You have a new client that you're onboarding, or somebody's booked an appointment with you, whatever it is, there's usually a series of steps. So you want to be able to automate all of that. And with Gohighlevel, it's super easy to do it with workflows. Now, depending on how long you've been using it or been exposed to it, they used to call it triggers and campaigns, I think, but it's called workflows. And I've had some other videos on how to use these automations, but I thought I would kind of start at the big picture level to help you understand why it's so important to create these workflows. So let me share my screen and I will just jump into a workflow that I have set up, and let's just analyze it a little bit. So if you'd watched any of my other videos, I suggest that you put workflows in folders if you're going to have more than one. So let me just come back here for a second so I can talk to you eyeball to eyeball. What do I mean by putting them in a folder if you have multiples? So if you have kind of a long process, so let's say you have a lead magnet and somebody opts in, they fill out their name and email and stuff. And then what happens on the back end? Well, on the back end, you want to tag them. You want to identify what did they opt in for. And then you want to be able to send them an email with a link to that goodie that they just signed up for. And if they're new to your world, you probably want to put them into some kind of an email nurturing sequence. So that's one like chunk of a workflow or an automation. So based on that, maybe the next step is on the thank you page, you're inviting them to purchase, a low cost something. All right. And then you'll have a whole nother series. So if somebody hits that buy button, what happens? Well, you want to tag that they actually purchased it. So they've got yet a second tag. You'll probably send out an email with a link to that goodie. And maybe there's a link to your calendar, the list goes on. So both of those things are connected in the sense that it's kind of all coming from one funnel. So that's what I mean about putting things in one folder if it makes sense. But if you're running a completely different campaign, I would create another folder for all of that. So hopefully that makes sense. Just wanted to clarify it. So let me jump back over here now and let's just have a little chat. So here I have a folder. I was running a little what I call my power offer workshop. And so here is the workflow connected with that. And if you've watched other videos, I always say at the time of this recording, this is how things look. Give it a very detailed description. You're not limited to characters here so that it makes sense to you. So up here, notice I have purchased. So if this was a free opt-in, then I would put the word opt-in here. Okay. Whatever makes sense to you. But when you're looking at the titles, have it make sense. And then always go to settings. I talked about this before, but allow re-entry. Come down. And if you click on username, click on the tag user, and then I'm going to put my full name. That's already in there, but that's how you would do it. The reason I'm doing it here is I don't have to do it then on each individual step. I'm going to do the same thing here. You go to user, and then you would pick. Okay, and then I always mark as red. All right, then in the builder, again, I talked about you have to have a trigger. What sets off this series of events? And so if workflows feel overwhelming to you, this whole automation thing, just think to yourself, it's kind of the olden days, the what if. Okay, so if this happens, what if? What happens next? And so forth. So you start with some kind of a trigger. And in this instance, the trigger is that people opted in on this little form. And it was my workshop offer here. Okay. So they opted in, or this is a purchase one. So they went through and they clicked the buy button. Okay. It gets assigned to me, creates an offer tag, internal notification. I love to be notified when things are happening, and then the email. And then you just write all the details there in that email. Okay, so that's it. That's how simple it is when you're creating these workflows. Now I'm going to come back and you'll see that I have several folders. And depending on if people share what they call their snapshots, then you might have other workflows in your account. So you just, again, if you keep things in folders, it makes it a lot easier. Now, this one here is a pretty complicated one. So whoever, I'm not the author of this one, but whoever created it, you can see that they numbered things. So that is very useful because if you're using somebody else's, or if you're creating a workflow that has several steps, then if you number them, it just makes it so much easier. All right. So we saw the number 1. Here's the number 2, reach out. Number 3, number 4, and so forth. Okay. And the other thing I want to point out, you'll notice that all of these are in draft mode. Whenever you're creating your workflows, that's like the last step you'll want to do. Up here over at the top, you just want to switch on the publish. Now, I always leave it in draft until I'm ready to go, but that's how you would turn that on. And again, once you look at a couple of workflows, you can see that they're really not that scary. Okay. You just have to, and some people I just recommend, hey, just like write it out on a piece of paper. What do you want to happen? What starts the action? And then what do you want to happen? And then you just sketch it out. All right. What else was I going to tell you here? Oh, another quick little shortcut here up at the top. You'll see something with a little clock. And if you click recent, this is a time saver because it will bring up to the top the last few that you were in. All right. So I was just in the Power Offer workshop. Notice it's published. I was in what we call a recipe. That's in draft mode. You can track how many people have gone through it. So here, the Lead Maker course credentials, 45 people went through it, and so on. So that just kind of helps you. You can also just do a quick search. You can also use the filters because if you have a lot of workflows, sometimes it gets a little wieldy trying to find where those are at. All right. So let me just come back here and stop sharing. So I just wanted to give you kind of an overview of the workflows. Don't be scared and just play around with it. You know, if you have workflows in your account already, then click on one and look at them. And then, of course, you'll need to test it, right? So if you have an opt-in form, use somebody else's email, your grandma's email or something, or create an email that you use just for testing and watch the workflow and see if it's successful. All right. So it really is not difficult. You just have to think about what do you want to happen. Now, if you ever need help with your workflows or setting up your funnels, anything like that, you might want to think about hopping into my Digital Business Academy because I give hands-on training. We open the hood together and help you get these things figured out. But stay tuned for some other videos that I have about workflows, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.